dance for joy.
Welcome to Sensible Secondhand Classics, the series where we look at practical and sensible nostalgic cars over 15 years old that you can buy for a budget between £1,000 and £5,000. This is a 1969 Triumph 1300. But is it any good? Should you care? Let's find out, shall we? So the Triumph 1300 was launched all the way back in 1965. It was meant as a replacement for the Triumph Herald, but that's not really what happened within Triumph. The Herald continued in production for the entirety of the 1300's life. I think possibly because this was, I don't know, a much more expensive car than one of those. In 1968, which we'll see in a brochure that I've been given, the 1300 was supplemented by the 1300 TC for twin carburettors. So all of them had basically the same engine, which is very similar to a Herald 1360 engine, which is a 1.3 litre with 61 horsepower in this one and 75 horsepower in the TC. 0 to 60, as I'm finding out currently, takes 18 seconds in this car, so it's not the fastest thing in the world. But interestingly, and you might not realise this when looking at this car, because things like the Dolomite and the Toledo are similar to this. This is actually front-wheel drive, and it's a really weird setup of front-wheel drive as well. It's got the engine underneath the gearbox not sharing the same oil, which is really strange. And before you say it, viewers, yes, I know, Steph from idriveaclassic has one of these cars. So driving along here, I think I might have left one of the windows open or something. It's a bit loud in here, but it's not too bad. It's sort of cruising along nicely, about 50 miles per hour. Very comfortable as well. The pedals are in a nice position. The writing's a little bit on the hard side. I'm not quite sure why, but I think it could just be it's a very, very old car. Steering is all right. It's quite heavy at parking speeds, but that's to be expected. But yeah, it's nice and comfortable. Quite like it already. Unfortunately, my filming location today that I used 2 years ago when I filmed one of Simon's other cars is not brilliant. Someone's dumped a load of stuff here, but it is quiet, so that's one good thing. This car is in really, really nice condition. This is worth more than £5,000, this one, although you can obviously still buy one of these for under £5,000. It just won't be quite as nice as this one. Compared with the Dolomite and the Toledo, the rear end of this car is shorter, so it does have a bit of a different look to it. The front end's also a bit shorter, but the centre section is very, very similar. I love these old details, like the globe logo on the hubcaps. This car's obviously had new tyres recently as well. Simon's not had it long, he's had it about 5-6 months perhaps. And gosh, that road's a bit noisy as well too, isn't it? So he's not owned it for very long, but he's been enjoying it, and so have I. Proper wing mirrors on this as well. Started by Michelotti, who used to work a lot with Triumph back in the 60s. Just a very nicely proportioned car, but a bit sort of stately, and the boot does look a little bit too short, so that's why probably they fixed that on some of the later cars that use this design, because it just maybe looks a little bit out of proportion, very tall, because of that engine layout at the front. Actually, thinking of the boot, let's have a look there. We can see at the back it has a 1300 logo. Later on, they did actually make a larger engine version of this, first in Israel, yes, Israel, for about 1967 or 68 onwards, and then in 1970, it was basically a sort of facelift, really. The car became a 1500 and had a 1.5 engine, and then in 1973, all the front-wheel drive ones of these were discontinued, even in Israel, where they kept making the 1300 alongside the larger engined 1300 as a 1.5 engine, which is really weird. They made 1300 and a 1300 with a 1.5 engine. It's bizarre. All of them by then were rear-wheel drive. The Toledo that had come out in 70, Dolomite in 72, then the 1500 TC in 73. They were all rear-wheel drive, which is odd, isn't it? So twin reversing lights on this one. No fog lamp. You didn't need one of those until I think 1981. Boot is pretty nice actually. This was quite a luxurious car when it came out. They weren't cheap. It's sort of a rival for sort of a higher end 1100s and 1300s really, not the sort of lower end ones. I remember my old Dolomite 1500. Obviously, it's a lot later than this. It was a 1980. A little bit better boot access than this, but it would be because the actual lid is larger and the car's a bit longer. So yeah, it looks good. What have we got under the floor? If we can lift this up. Oh yeah, there's the spare there, and on that side there is something. Let's take a see to the back. If that door's actually open, it might be locked. Just give me a second to check that, viewers. Right, there we go. It was open after all. Someone has been very kind and actually fitted inertia reel seat belts to the front and rear of this car at some point, because it would have had fixed seat belts originally. That's a really, really good idea. Right, let's get in. It's not the most amount of space in the back of one of these. The passenger compartment is the same length as all the other derivatives on this design. But you do sink quite nicely down. My knees are right up here. I've got a tiny ashtray here as well. That's nice, I suppose. We've got a nice rear armrest, all sort of vinyl in here. No leather or anything like that. There are those inertia rear seat belts. Yeah, it's pretty luxurious in here. If you didn't have really long legs, which is a bit awkward, because you sink into the seat so far, it would be reasonably comfortable. We've got these rather annoying, but very safe, clearly, window winders. You've got to sort of put them down like that to actually use them. The front one's even worse. Yeah, it's got real wood door caps. And this is the idea that actually if you have one of these, you might be coming down from a much larger car, possibly, I don't know, a Jaguar or something like that. And in 65, Jaguar didn't make small cars at all. So you might be looking at one of these instead. This is before the days of British Leyland, when Triumph were kind of with Standard, and I think Leyland trucks, they were on their own like that. So no influence of that at the moment. Yeah, so I've really far down. We've got a nice interior light there. That's pretty good though. We could do with some, I don't know, some map pockets, but I'm not going to complain too much. Right, let's get out of here and my relaxing place, apart from my knees being up in the air. And let's have a seat in the front. It's not the easiest car to get in and out of, because the door only opens that far, so you've not actually got that much space to swing yourself in. Front load's okay. And we've got more ashtray action going on. You can tell this car was designed in the 60s. No rev counter, of course. I don't think you got stuff like that until the Dolomite came out, which is sort of 72. Choke is up here. We didn't actually need that today. Lights are activated by that sort of switch there. And then you've got this nice little reminder panel in the middle, which reminds me of the ones you got in the higher spec Dolomites, and also the Triumph 2.5 PI and 2500s. Ignition key goes just in there. Hopefully that's the right one. There seems to be loads of identical keys with all these old cars. There we go, I was right. The fan speed is here. This is actually the position of the airflow, and that's the temperature just there. This is for the dimmer switch for the lights. That is light on, and these are 3 positions. That's dipped, side lamps. I think the main beam is that one there. Switch that off. Little tiny clock. I remember this sort of glove box from my old Dolomite. I mean, I'll try my secret mission documents. They might go in, but I don't think it's going to work. No, it doesn't work. Disappointing. I was quite enjoying that up until then. We've got another ashtray on this side as well. Fantastic. Very clean ashtrays too. Mind you, actually, there is somewhere to put written documents there. They fit very nicely in just this massive sort of full-length shelf underneath the dash. So it does feel very, very upmarket for a little car from the sort of late 60s. Wiper switches here is a single speed wipe. That is the washer, I think. Yeah, push that for wash. The indicator stalk is on the right hand side and the lights are on the left, so it does take a little bit of getting used to. That one, I don't actually know what that thing does down there. I'm not sure. I should have asked Simon about that, shouldn't I? Yeah, I quite like this. It's nice and comfortable. And the pedals are all sort of right where you think they're going to be. They're sort of right in front of you, which is not a given in a car of this era at all. Right. I think it's got nothing down here apart from the handbrake. Gear lever's in a bit of a weird sort of place. It's sort of here, which reminds me of an old Rover P4 or something like that. I suppose we better look under the bonnet of this very, very strangely configured engine. So here is the 1.3 litre standard SC engine. It dates back to the standard 8 from 1953, developing 61 horsepower in this application. So you can see the gearbox, it's quite obvious, is underneath there. They don't share the same oil, which is why the car is so tall at the front to accommodate this particular engine. Radiator is there. I believe these are chain engines, so they're generally quite reliable if you look after them, but obviously you get oil leaks and things like that. You've got to remember as well that you do need to sort of look after this a bit more than you would do a modern car. But overall, I think they're pretty dependable engines actually in this. Got some extra sort of cooling going on there as well. Yeah, I just remember this layout from my old Dolomite 1500 SE being exactly the same as this. Although, see, a bit of a longer car, but the bonnet's swung open like that as well. Right, we've actually got a brochure for this car inside, so we'll just shut the bonnet if I fiddle with that sort of stay thing there. And we'll take a look at the brochure inside because it's a bit damp out here today. So, the revolutionary Triumph 1300, dating from 1968. There's a car with a commentary plate, will be from the Canley factory, which is where they made these, which is no longer there. 46 items, but not extras. Nice kind of shot there, one of the early motorways. No seatbelts being worn. Front wheel drive gets precise handling and easy servicing. Yep, there's a picture of the engine and the gearbox sitting underneath it. The 1296cc engine is located on top of the transmission. The entire engine, transmission and front drive are mounted as a unit on a subframe separate from the main body of the car. The gear shift goes direct to the heart of the gearbox, and other spunniness of intermediate levers and linkage as well. I don't know about that. I do like the fact though that it's an all synchromesh gearbox. That wasn't a given at all in 1969. Simple clutch removal, no loss cooling system. Some nice brochures, isn't it? All-round independent suspension. Yeah, that's true. The later cars, I think the sort of Toledos and things like that, didn't have the same rear suspension. Front disc brakes, and you get servo assistance as well on the TC. Oh, it's one of those helicopters from Russia with Love. And there's another one there. There's a herald behind it as well. Small turning circle, easy parking. Yeah, it's a little bit heavy for steering at parking, but that's normal. Drive systems, there's all the stuff. There's a BEA plane there. Very glamorous air travel in the 60s. All systems go. Yes. See, dashes there. It's a bit less glamorous where I am, though. Full flow ventilation. Yeah, there are vents in the back of the car, sort of here. So get some free flow going on. The window ones are a pain, actually. Adjustable seating in front seats. Very comfortable, well-designed boot. 11 3/4 gallon tank. And then here we go, you can have the new TC version, 75 horsepower. 0 to 50, not 60, 0 to 50 in 11.5 seconds. Leyland Engineering. So, yeah, because this brochure is from 68, there is the plug hole of despair. Hope you enjoyed that, viewers. Right, I'm going to go out for another drive because I quite enjoyed this car, actually. even more than I expected. So, compared with something like a Dolomite 1850 or the old Dolomite 300 SE I used to own in 1980, I bet in about 2005, this does feel a little bit different. It feels a bit less powerful than either of those, but that's to be expected. The steering is quite nice in this actually. It's quite easy to drive. The steering wheel is absolutely and utterly enormous. I don't know why. It's possibly because we haven't got any power assistance, and so you need it to be turned a little bit. Nice self-counting indicators. Yeah, gearbox takes a bit of getting used to. That's principally because it's designed in a slightly different way from a modern car. Brakes are okay, although they're not servo assisted in this one. They are MTC. It's a really nice, pleasant car to drive. I can see why Steph very much enjoys hers. Once you get used to the gearbox and the fact that this isn't the fastest car in the world, it's really quite pleasant. It's a bit louder than a modern car, as you can hear, but it doesn't take that much to get used to it. Brakes, although we haven't got any servo assistance, aren't nearly as bad as I thought they'd be. I've driven some cars with shocking brakes before, and this isn't one of them. Engine sounds quite raspy, which is nice. It sounds better than my old Dolomite 1500, to be honest with you. I don't quite know why. Yeah, it drives actually quite well. The steering is a little bit on the light side when you're going fast, and a little bit lacking in any sort of feel. This isn't a Spitfire or anything, so that might be not too much a problem. So we're just hitting 60 here. I'm just going to ease off a little bit because it's a little bit noisy like that. Yeah, what a fantastic car. So viewers, the Triumph 1300, is this something that you should consider for your hard-earned budget of between £1,000 and £5,000 as a sensible second-hand classic? I don't see why not. It's got a very unusual layout, and I don't think there's gear changes for everybody. Yeah, I like the way this drives. It's really comfortable, and I can see why some people would want to use this every day. It's one of those sort of old cars that you can. Spare parts I don't think are too bad to find or anything like that, and prices start off I think from about £2,000 for something that needs a bit of work to something like this, which is, it's not concours or anything, but it's really nice. This is about £6,000. So thank you to Simon again for letting me have a go in his lovely car. Thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below, and we shall see you very soon for more reasonably priced nostalgic motoring.
Dance for joy or lust or anger, and every time you haven't got it right, you're one of us. Do you know that you are not?